Hi, my name is Michael Idadaji, and we are going to conclude the video about Paul Warfield Tibbets and Enola Gay, and how all the circumstances point to us that Paul Warfield Tibbets is the bomb himself, and it's a distortion within the body that is being played out for everyone to see. And at this time, let me just cover a few things biblically, because people think that God doesn't exist. And I'm going to go to Matthew 22 for a second, verse 32. And it goes, I am the God of Abraham and the God of Isaac and the God of Jacob. God is not a God of dead men, but of living. So, why does that tie into us here, if he is the God of the living and not the dead? Well, as we saw in this video, this is the massive head structure. This is the long neck, spiritually, or great distance from the heart and the torso. The spirit is in here. If you do not have this connection on the inside of your own body, you're going to lack emotions, morality, and other virtues. If this is severed, then you're going to become like Paul Warfield Tibbets, who is the man for the job, who is totally disassociated from the torso. When this disassociation happens, then what happens is, instead of you feeding off your own body, you create a relationship with an enabler. So, if you're not feeding on your body, you still have to get emotions or an outward distortion fulfilled, and that comes from an enabler. So if you think that Paul Warfield Tibbets' actions were justified, then you are representing this part of this distortion. Your out-of-body distortion is believing his lie. You're swallowing that lie, and you're giving glory to that lie and giving it life. That's why God is not the God of the dead. This is death. This is death. Now, just before they stoned Stephen, and it's very interesting that this is a very pivotal point, before Saul became Paul, and Paul wrote most of the epistles in the New Testament, his name was Saul. One of the acts that he did was he was consenting to the death of Stephen. In fact, after Stephen was killed, his clothing was brought to him. But let me read you this one verse in Acts 7:51 and 52. And look at how interestingly accurate this is. Ye stiff-necked and uncircumcised in heart and in ears. And notice I did not draw ears on this, because these people do not listen. That's why it's just a head structure, no ears. Let me start again. Ye stiff-necked and uncircumcised in heart and in ears, ye do always the Holy Spirit resist, as your fathers also ye. Which of the prophets did not your fathers persecute? And they killed those who declared before about the coming of the righteous one, of whom now ye are betrayers and murderers have become. So now, a few interesting points. We understand that there's a stiff-necked, uncircumcised in heart and ears. You see the parallel of what's happening inside the body here? Now, it says resisting the Holy Spirit. Well, if the neck is here and it's stiff, this is where the Holy Spirit is. It's down here. So as you can see, if the Holy Spirit doesn't come to the head, then you're not part of the living of God. Now, let me put that aside one more time so that this becomes abundantly clear, and we can't deviate from this. This airplane dropped the bomb. The name of the plane, Enola Gay, or Alone and Gay. And this is the mother. And this is the little boy. Bomb. This is Paul Warfield. Notice the middle name. Tibbets. This bomb was named after an actor. Not an actor per se, but after a role. And the role, the actor, the movie, the Maltese Falcon, 1941 version, his name is Wilmer. If you look up the actor for Wilmer, Elisha Cook Jr., and you'll find out that he was the fall guy in many, many movies. In fact, his entire career, most of it has to do with him being a fall guy. Now, some of this might be stretching to tie things together, but one thing is not a mistake. This distortion between the mother and the son is very evident. This parallels our pregenital stage dysfunction, where the head does downward force not to connect with the body. Again, Paul Tibbets is not isolated. He's not the only person that has this this issue. This is something that's very common. This is something that you might have some famous people that you've probably heard of that will do the same type of work. The same type. Let me give you a few. How about Steve Jobs? He sacrificed everybody around him, and he brought us the Apple Computer Company, Macintosh, and if you even look at their logo is actually an apple with a bite taken out of it. And this is a biblical reference. Anyone that worked around Steve Jobs, he was highly critical of them. He literally forced you to work with him. And what did you have to do to work with him? You have to sacrifice your body. Same understanding. So if we were to take that all over again, we have Steve Jobs sacrifices his own body, and then he has everybody else working for him that creates this relationship. By the way, this is intentionally drawn looking like a bug, because this is what they end up being with them. These people create a downward violence towards these people, which is mirroring the downward violence in here. So you can look at this as Japan. You can look at this as what Paul Warfield Tibbets dropped the bomb on Japan. They considered them bugs, non-human. That's why one of the big arguments is, well, they killed our boys in Pearl Harbor. Yeah, a couple of thousand died at Pearl Harbor. Tragedy. But a couple of 100,000 by no means equates as an equality. Donald Trump, a presidential candidate at this time, 2016, he does the same thing. He does all kinds of erratic, bad behavior. He's telling lies all the time. What he says about women, what he says about Muslims, fear. And if you notice in my understanding of how this is, they think they're the I am. And what do they live with? They live with lies, control, and fear. These are their attributes. And the head operates without connection to the body. So things like blood, spirit, Intimacy and breathing are replaced. Blood is replaced by money. Spirit is replaced by alcohol and drugs. Intimacy by sex and pornography. Breathing by smoking. The destructive behavior creates a downward force to keep pain, emotions, feelings away from the head. That's why Paul Warfield Tibbets had no morality issues. Here are some other names. How about William Anderson? This is a short list. William Anderson. He was in charge of Union Carbide in the Bhopal disaster. William Anderson had died not too long ago, a year or two ago. There were so many people who died in that industrial accident with MIC being released in Bhopal, but he never faced, he was never accountable for it. In fact, they arrested him one day, and then from pressure from the United States, he left. But meanwhile, thousands of people lost their lives, and there was no accountability there. How about Leo Slizard? Leo Slizard, he was a humanist. He's the one who won the Humanist Award in 1959. He's the one that coerced Albert Einstein, who admitted his greatest mistake was to sign that letter on August 2nd, 1939, from his Peconic home. And Einstein is a pacifist. And what did this pacifist scientist do? These people pride themselves on their intellect. What did they do? They became the enabler. This was Leo Slizard, the enabler. They were worried about the Germans and the bomb, and what do we have? We're into the nuclear age now. All these people, they're not going to escape, because I could take any one of them, and demonstrate this dysfunctional relationship. And if your head is not connected to your heart and spirit, and you're doing these downward force of destructive behavior, then as God said, I am the God of Abraham and the God of Isaac and the God of Jacob. God is not a God of dead men, but of living. So, this concludes the understanding that there's no way that Paul Warfield Tibbets is going to escape his role of destiny, of who he is and what he did. If you want to look at this information and not look deeper, then you're going to be justifying this behavior. Then you become the enabler to the evil. Because if God can demonstrate in the historical record of the man's life something so big and so tremendous like this, and it's played out by him naming himself. He didn't name himself, by him being named as the little boy that came out of the mother, Enola Gay, or Aloning Gay. And I don't know what to tell you. And keep in mind too that when you are disconnected, humanity's down here, you are definitely alone. Once again, my name is Michael G, and hope this information was helpful. You could find more information regarding the pregenital stage trauma and other connections like this in future videos or on the website. And may God richly bless you as a God of the living for you. God bless.